Now, our next speakers, I was looking at their presentation this morning when they were presenting it, and Yogi Berra once said, you can observe a lot by watching. And I tell you, you're going to observe a lot and you're going to enjoy a lot here. Our speakers are going to speak on innovation, ideation, transformation, and leap. And we're going to have...
It's just to jump to the left.
Just to jump to the left, is it? Okay. Well, these guys are from Chest, right? What more appropriate guys? Look at the size of them. Right. So no further, I will introduce you with Ron Moen, who's the Chief Information Officer, and Chad Jackson, Chief Innovation Officer of the American College of Chest Physicians. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. I don't know if you've seen the movie, so maybe that was a reference that didn't matter to you, but that's okay.
I understood it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just to jump to the left. Yeah, thanks. So Chad and I are pleased to come and share with you for a few minutes about the crazy things we've been doing at Chest. And that word leap is really, I think, applicable. Innovation, ideation, transformation, all super buzzwords, but unless you're actually willing to ship it, unless you're actually willing to do it, unless you're actually willing to try it and take a chance, then they just remain words on the page. So this is the promise. This is what was in the little blurb about our session, and I know it's kind of a captive audience, so it wasn't like you had another breakout to go to. But this is what we plan to do today. Please hold us to it. We do want you to do your assessment, your evaluation. Sherry and Kevin, do listen to what we have to say in our community. It's one of the great things about this room and this group. So please fill those out when you get them tomorrow. A little bit about you, after a little bit about us. So I'm the Chief Information Officer at Chest. I've been there about 4 years, and when I got to Chest, Chad quickly became one of my favorite people. He's the other CIO. He's the Chief Innovation Officer. Tell us about yourself.
I'm originally a respiratory therapist, 17 years at the bedside, and then started teaching, went back, got my master's in adult learning, essentially instructional system design, and then shortly after that time I was working at university, recruited by Chest to help them with simulation. I've been there 11 and a half years.
So Chad and I have a lot of fun innovating, dreaming, drawing, and trying to make it actually work and to make it happen. So, but enough about us. I want to learn a little bit about you. So we're going to use that conference's I/O platform, and if this works well, this is the question. So it's an open-ended question. You should be able to type in your answer, and if it's working as it did in test, then it'll be a word cloud as you all start to describe what division, department, team you work in. Wonka Land, that's awesome. I want to come work with you. We're the first ones to use the platform after the test, so we'll give you a few minutes to keep typing.
This is public, so keep it family friendly.
What does TOO stand for? Is anybody willing to shout out with that?
Also?
Yeah, I don't know what the department is of the TOO, but maybe it was a typo. So, okay, great. A nice mix, right? I think this is kind of typical of the value of org community. Is it's not just all CIOs, it's not just all tech wonks, it's not just all people from education, right? We're a nice hybrid of the community of at large, and hopefully you're going to learn from each other today and not just from us. And that's part of the goal of why we're all here at org community. So, next question: where do the innovative ideas come from in your organization? Now, Chad's the Chief Innovation Officer, but they don't all come from him, right? They come from a lot of us. Spirit's outstanding. I want to work with you as well. Good. Someone's listening to their members. Okay. Chief Learning Officer, yay. Surveys, good. Thinkers, Younger members, okay. Any surprises, Jen? No one said sales team. Did anybody say partners? Anybody say vendor partners? One of you vendor partners, type vendor partners. All right, you get the idea. All right, well, thanks for helping us know a little bit about who we're talking with and who we're presenting to this morning. I like to give out dollar bills for people that can stump the presenter and answer my questions. So this, what is this called? A little cartoon, this little graphic. It looks like someone who works with me at Chest. So if you can tell me who inspired me to make this little graphic, I'll give you $1. But anyway, Chest's strategy, sort of simply stated, is to create exceptional educational experiences. I feel very smart because Garth talked about one and one thing only, right? So Chest is its whole mission, vision, values, everything's wrapped around creating exceptional educational experiences. And for what? Right, relevant to clinicians, patients, caregivers, and industries. Again, feeling rather smart. The slide says relevant, long before we saw the presenter before us. And how do we do that? We employ our highly engaged staff and volunteers with clinical expertise. That is really where Chest is headed in a nutshell. We do have mission, vision, values, goals, but at the end of the day, this is what Chest is all about. If you're wondering why it's called Chest, it was originally the American College of Chest Physicians, so we're all about lung health. If you care about lung health, we care about you. That's what Chest is all about. And that strategy, why do we bother creating exceptional education experiences? What's the why behind that? We're trying to change behavior of clinicians and healthcare providers. Right? We're trying to help them gain new knowledge. Or we're trying to elevate their performance. We do a ton of work with simulation. And why? We want them to practice on the robots and the mannequins before they practice on you, me, and grandma. And at the end of the day, these highly exceptional educational experiences are to ultimately improve patient care. At Chest, we talked about we're here to crush lung disease. That's our rallying cry as staff, crushing lung disease.
One of my favorite folks of all times is Walt Disney, because Walt Disney was very motivational to me and life, and a lot of people too, you know. How they doing the January? Anyway, he said, if you can dream it, you can do it. And this is a philosophy we look at, right? We're in this association space, and when I first came into the association space, people are like, where did you come from? Where are you coming up with these ideas? The idea is, why can't what we do be fun, be serious fun, have a lot of fun? The topics we all handle on a day-to-day basis are serious, but let's have some fun while we do it. And so if we keep that philosophy going, and we talk specifically, you guys, do you guys have some type of formal or standing body, committee, subcommittee, etc., that is accountable for recommending innovative products or services to your organization?
Kind of a contrast to the earlier question, right? Nobody wrote innovation subcommittee on their last, where the innovative ideas come from, right? But some of us have an innovation subcommittee, right? Yeah. Sign thinking by.
Wow, I'm really surprised by those results so far.
Yeah. Games team, working group, cross-functional division, people get together with Tom for drinks.
So for us here at Chest, this is kind of what it looks like for us. Okay, we take our Mickey Mouse ears, but basically we have our staff and selected vendors that work with, but we also have the governance and committee structure. So we actually have a formal education committee. And within that education committee, there's actually an innovation subcommittee that goes around and actually every 2 years looks at what the members, we kind of survey our members and ask them what they want. What are we missing? Of all the things we have out there, what are we not providing you that you'd like to have? And the idea is we give them a lot of free text and space to write that in so we can get the pulse of them and see where that's at. And then we have within those, the education committee, there's a lot of different working groups. So in our domains, things like airway, bronchoscopy, critical care, these are all subcommittees that we have that actually bring content ideas. Plus, we have 23 clinical networks. So all of our members, about our 19,000 members, they get a self-select and say, I'm interested in airways disorders. I'm interested in, lung cancer. And so they self-select to be in these groups, and then we ask them for these ideas as well. And so all this feeds in, and then we work to create, together with our faculty, with our members, through the structure and the process, this great education that Chest is able to deliver?
It's a delicate balance, right, between listening to the volunteer leaders and encouraging them to share with us what ideas they have. But at the end of the day, we're the ones that have to make it work on time and on budget. And so that's why the staff and selected vendor circle, I don't know if I would show this to the board this way, but
Yeah.
you know, that's why the staff and selected vendor circle is biggest, because at the end of the day, we're accountable to deliver all these programs and services to drive excellent educational experiences. So the strategy for CHEST, right, creating exceptional educational experiences for patients, caregivers, healthcare professionals, etc. Why are we doing it, right? We're doing it to impact lung health and to increase patient care, right? I didn't have a slide about learning, but what's going on in adult learning these days? For any of you who are in education, right, it's all about short attention span, high expectations of technology. I want it when I want it. I want it on the device I want it on. You know, Sherry's earlier slide about mobile. The whole adult learning space is really challenging and changing. And because at CHEST, most of our continuing medical education is for adults, right? We're adult continuing medical education at CHEST. We really have to work together to mesh all these concepts together. Our strategy, the why, the purpose behind it, and then what's going on in the adult learning environment to create these unique, impactful, and at the end of the day, fun products. So sort of the why and how we do what we do. So the real meat of our 15 minutes is Chad and I chose from all the fun things that we do at CHEST that we believe matter, that advance the cause. We picked 5 of our favorite leaps. Things where we had ideas germinating around, some experiments, some drawings, some nothing as fancy as origami, but Chad and I just wanted to share with you 5 of the favorite leaps that we feel like we've taken at CHEST the last couple of years to really advance the cause. So let's see, Chad, I'm gonna play, we're gonna watch the game being played, and then Chad's gonna talk a little bit about the why.
So one of the things we realize about our members is the immunologists have done a really good job of understanding the complex nature of asthma pathways, for example. And what we realize is our members don't understand how IgE, immunoglobulin E, is created by the B lymphocytes, which is a type of white blood cell, and then how those affect and are created when they interact with an allergen to actually create this asthma reaction that we know. And so the idea is for the first time in a long time, there are now drugs that can interact to limit the amount of Ig that's being created in this type 2 non-allergic type asthma. And so this is a big deal for our members because we're the immunologists, the allergists have done a good job of understanding this. We know that about 85% of our members don't understand this. And so this is just one example. We can do a little fun to have them better understand this.
So what we're not doing is wearing Oculus headsets, getting really dizzy and kind of looking silly up here. But that game that we took the 2D snapshot of that you're looking at is being played in a fully immersive environment so that the healthcare provider is actually standing inside of the airway watching these interactions happen between the different drugs. Yeah, that's right. It looks pretty silly when you're watching somebody play on the headset. But again, for those of you that are my age, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the chance for us to actually take physicians and put them inside, other healthcare professionals, nurses, respiratory therapists, whatever, to put them actually inside the airway and watch these interactions happen and have fun playing the game at the same time is really engaging and impactful, but also we're teaching them about these interactions. Like Chad said, a lot of healthcare providers don't understand how severe asthma reactions or why severe asthma reactions happen.
And so we're just taking this concept a little further. I'm going to talk over the video,
okay.
But you understand we got the science piece too, right? That talks about the histamine, the antihistamine response, how these Ig mediators and the immunoglobulins are created and how they affect that. So we give them the science too, right? So instead of giving them a journal article, right, which they get plenty of those things, we're giving them some of the science and then working with play. Then give them a little more science and working in with play. And give them some more science, we're going to play. Anybody know what statistics are like for when you play and then you're trying to memorize something? Do you know that it's typically you're having thank you, Ron.
Statistics.
A 5 to 6 times increase. That's a 500 to 600% increase in retention if you're playing and then doing it. Some studies it's as low as 35 to 40%, but it's statistically significant that they retain more when you're playing and having fun. I get so excited just talking about it.
And the other thing about these games is they're designed to be done in shorter bursts, right? They're not, I mean, there are importance to 25-minute lectures. Thanks for hanging us with 25 minutes, right? But the reality is we're making a lot of these games playable in 5 minutes. And you can stack 4 or 5 of them together if you've got the time. But you can also, in 5 minutes, you can play, listen to some of the science, have fun with the game, listen to some of the science, and then be done and move on. So this next video is just really, it's listening to the kind of the science behind it. We want you to understand it's not just video games, there's also...
Most of what we know about allergic asthma follows the canonical atopic model that IgE mediates the inflammatory response following allergen exposure in the airway. This process begins with allergen processing and presentation by antigen-presenting cells, or APCs, to Th2 cells. Th2 cells then produce IL.
So again, none of you are going to be in medical school, but again, imagine the healthcare provider standing inside of the airway, looking around at all these interactions, and really beginning to understand what's causing this allergic reaction for their patient to be something. The other thing we're doing is we're experimenting with virtual reality courses, and this is the view of what the faculty would see if they're wearing the virtual reality goggles. One of the nice things about this partnership with a firm called Induvo we have is Induvo is designed to take already existing classroom materials, videos, slides, lectures, death by PowerPoint, right? Anything that's in a traditional, normal, regular educational session can be brought with the Induvo platform into this immersive environment and can be stitched together by faculty. And so we ran a couple of faculty through a test maybe a month ago. They went down to Peoria. Not people that have experimented with virtual reality before, not game players, sort of tried and true healthcare providers, able to wear the goggles. All the material and content was there. So they're looking at their slide decks, their images, their videos, their PowerPoints, and they were able to stitch together a 15-minute, fully immersive virtual reality course using the Induvo platform with their materials. And again, is it going to replace them as teaching in traditional faculty? In a traditional course? No. But it's another way to supplement the education and get it into these virtual reality tools in a way we think is going to be meaningful. And again, I don't have the VR to play with, but it's pretty sweet.
And provide an indirect view of...
You need to listen in.
One of the things we put on this, we talked about a popcorn cart. No, it's pop-up simulation. The idea is we keep trying to reinvent ourselves in what we're doing. The bottom left-hand image there is Bill Kelly with a happy winner of one of our games at Chest. We do a series of live-action games at our Chest annual meeting each year. This year we're going to be in New Orleans, so we're trying to look at things that were themed around the New Orleans Convention Center. If you've been there, they have these huge popcorn carts. They sell popcorn and stuff. And so we wanted to take that a little bit further. Well, Bill Kelly's been doing this thing that he calls Billy on the Street. And he would just pop out of a session. He's got this big 3D printed microphone. It's not a microphone at all. But what he does is he goes up and he says, hey, you just left that session on ultrasound. Can you tell me the 3 keys of doing the FAST exam? And the people goes, it's, you know. And they go through that. And he goes, great job. Gives him a $100 Amazon gift card. Now, people are looking for Bill in the big shiny suit because they're eager to win that $100 Amazon gift card. Again, the barrier to entry is low. You can all be doing this at your annual meeting. You can get somebody who's active and excited, right? It doesn't have to do this, put it on social media, it's fun. But then what can we do this year to take that concept a little further? So we've actually built our own popcorn carts, and if you go to the next slide, we're actually going to have pop-ups in. And so we've actually created in our labs these welded frames that actually have this, and of course it's not completely manned yet, but we're going to actually have a test trainer, popcorn on one side, Bill will go up, give people their free popcorn, and he can literally pull a knob and the whole thing flips over. And now we're doing airway simulation, and we can do airway innovation using a laryngeal mask airway and ask them to participate. And again, the science switches from free popcorn to doop, 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 and then trying to deal with a patient. So just fun, and again, it's taking something that you're already doing and just making it a little more fun. So we're taking popcorn and making that pop-up simulation.
We've got about, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 of our healthcare providers run through formal simulation classes when they're at our Chest annual meeting. But these popcorn machines are roaming the hallways. So can you imagine a faculty member walking up to you, having you some popcorn, and all of a sudden challenging you to do an intubation right there in the hallway at the annual meeting? It's going to be a lot of fun.
We're also going to do it for ultrasound as well. So we're looking forward to have 2 different popcorn carts set up, and of course they'll be painted fire engine red, and our graphics department's design graphics for them and everything else. We're looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We also do a lot of sort of more 2D traditional gaming where people can interact with content, answer questions, get prizes, add up points, and so I'll show you this. Show you this video in just a second. One thing I forgot to say about the virtual reality, right? Why are we doing this virtual reality gaming? Why are we having, other than the educational benefits of game and play and the 5 minutes, but think about all the work we do in simulation with these robots and mannequins like Chad just showed. We're trying to grow globally, right? It's hard for us to ship 100 mannequins overseas so that we can run simulation programs overseas. But someday we're going to be able to ship 100 VR headsets overseas and have those physicians practice in virtual reality. The nut we haven't cracked yet is the haptic feedback, right? If I'm taking a bronchoscope and I'm going down an airway on a human or on a mannequin, I can feel if I'm about to go through that wall and I'm going to make a tear. I can feel if I'm about to make a cut. Well, in virtual reality, we don't have that haptic feedback yet in a totally immersive environment to feel that lung airway, right? But once we get there, now we'll have true virtual simulation. But in the meantime, we've got to be experimenting with these tools so that we get more confident and our healthcare providers get more confident in these immersive environments. We can't wait 2 or 3 years to put on the HoloLens or the Oculus glasses and do virtual sim with haptic feedback. So we're kind of going in stair steps to train people that this is a way you can learn. So this is a game that we also have, and there's no audio. I won't read it to you, but
what's neat is we're using this technology, and it's kind of like the comic book type font. And do you know that there's simple programs that allow you guys to create this? So again, we don't want to just bring you the cool stuff we do. These are all things you guys can be doing as well. You can actually buy certain games like this that are actually templated, that let you pick your characters. You can just drag them in, drop them in, you put up the bubbles, you do your own voiceovers, and again, it still boils down to multiple choice type questions that they're answering, but it's just another engaging way to interact with your members, your learners, your participants.
so, and the way the game plays, you answer the question correctly, yes or no, and it gives you the points, but then it also, notice, it gives you the rationale and the explanation. So even if you get the wrong answer and don't get the points, we want you to continue learning. Right, you get it. So there's the rationale, and then, yeah, okay.
So one of the new things we're doing this year too is we're doing an escape room. Just by quick show of hands, how many of you guys know what an escape room is? Okay, well good, most people do. If you don't know what it is, basically you take some folks, that top right image, you throw them into a room, you lock them in, you give them a time objective, and they have to solve a series of puzzles in order to escape the room. Now look at that bottom left picture. Don't we all recognize that room in some form? Right? Right? Every one of you either is doing some type of annual meeting with ballrooms, or you have rooms like this in your own conference centers or your own associations or even a hotel room that do this. If you take some time to just scribble a little bit on a napkin, you can create multiple puzzles based on truly multiple choice questions, i.e. content you already have for your members, and create a new, fun, engaging learning experience. So for us this year, we just can't leave it as a room. We're taking it to another level. And so this is the Chess Escape Room 2019, a Starship experience. We're actually 3D printing robotic crew members, and ours will actually be more what looks like on the right, because I don't want to infringe with the InMove robot there, which was our inspiration for that. We'll actually have the setup here in the room. You can see how we work people through the puzzles. There's a series of 7 puzzles that are loosely based on, you can see quite a bit of Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who type themes. And again, to our audience, particularly our physicians, this is close to home for them. So we have a very engaged group of those active volunteers who are participating in the creation of this to create these games. And then we're going to then deliver this at our annual meeting. And it's pretty exciting for us. We're super excited about the concept of doing an escape room. I had just spent some time talking with some of the folks at ASA Gym, and I know they're going to do an escape room based on zombies. at their annual meeting in January as well, following chess. So we're pretty excited to release this idea of doing this for our members, and there's a lot of really excitement happening.
So I think we stayed on time. How'd we do? Thank you, Kevin. All right, are there questions before the next? I know we want to get you to the partner break.
So one question that's popping up is what level of investment is required for this kind of activity?
I can jump on that
Sure.
again, because this is just a room. When our faculty started talking about this, they said, well, just use cardboard cutouts. We'll do printed things. All you guys have some type of graphics person, right, that can do this. You can do this very inexpensively. We just happen to have 2 innovation labs, and so we challenge, right, our folks that work in innovation. That includes really my responsibility too, to create some of this fun stuff for our members. So again, just so you know, if you want to talk about direct costs, the room is what the room is for you guys, but we're not even going to invest $20,000 in the total development of this for the annual meeting. And the best part is, I'll tell you this too, everything we're building to be portable so that we can take it on the road and we can actually execute this again, time and again, and different themes. Again, just change the questions. This year our focus will be on interstitial lung disease, but it can be easily COPD, asthma, again, any multiple choice based content. So you guys, once you develop an idea, you can get mileage in multiple disease states or disease areas if that's what you handle.
And on the other games, really it ranged the gamut. We've done some of the gaming for $5,000, $6,000. We've done other of the gaming for closer to $50,000. It's kind of really all over the map, and our deal was start small. This isn't the first year. I mean, there's a bunch of ex-Chest employees in the audience. They can tell you all about it. We've been doing this for years. So just incrementally building on what we do every year. And then the return is better, so that we get more money.
We take one question.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ron just answered the question. We're good.
Did he? Okay, perfect. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Connor. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, give it up for the 2 guys from Chess.